House Speaker Nancy Pelosi vowing to preserve democracy in the island nation of Taiwan. But the Biden administration is insisting its stance on Taiwan has not changed. Watch.
When the Speaker of the House says we stand with Taiwan, America stands with Taiwan, how can the Chinese construe that as anything else but that you're supporting independence?
I'll let the Speaker speak for herself. Nothing has changed about our adherence to the one China policy. Nothing has changed about our stance on Taiwan independence, which is that we do not support Taiwan independence.
So when she says America stands with Taiwan, is she misstating administration policy?
You should talk to Speaker Pelosi about her comments. I'm not going to parse. Nothing has changed about our policy.
China, infuriated with Pelosi's visit, launched military activity in the surrounding waters, summoning the United States ambassador, Nick Burns, in Beijing and announcing the suspension of several agricultural imports from Taiwan. Joining the conversation all morning long this morning, Fox Business's Dagen McDowell and the Wall Street Journal assistant editorial age editor, James Freeman. Great to see you guys this morning. Dagen, your reaction to all of this?
I think that the John Kirby kind of gives himself away and the White House away when the Biden administration needs to be a great deal more forceful in word and deed when it comes to China's aggressions. The fact that more than 1 million Americans are dead from COVID, a virus unleashed and covered up by the Communist Party of China, with 6.5 million people around the globe. I digress. But Biden himself said out loud that the Pentagon didn't think it was time for her to visit. Well, she visited. Good for her. And now they need to step up their defense, or at least the way that they speak about Taiwan, and stand up against China's aggression. As General Keane has pointed out, our war plans include how we would come to Taiwan's defense, but we don't even send military leaders into Taiwan to synchronize how that would take place. And our senior military leaders are self-restricting. We don't do training exercises with Taiwan, but we're supposed to come to their defense. Something needs to change in terms of policy, and that means, again, the talk and the walk.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the even bigger parts of this story is why this got out into the public in the first place. This was wildly mismanaged. These are not supposed to be details that are given where the House is, the Speaker of the House is going to go, and that sparked China and the CCP lashing out so much. Who from the White House leaked the story that she was even going to Taiwan in the first place is my question. But, James, how do you see all of this?
Yeah, that is a good question. That was not helpful and a security risk. And kudos to Nancy Pelosi for having the guts to go ahead with it, to show up and say what enrages tyrants, is to speak the truth about liberty. And because the Chinese dictatorship knows there is only one legitimate Chinese government, and it's on Taiwan. That is the democracy. China's communist dictatorship does not represent its people. It knows that, but it doesn't like it when brave people point out that there is another way to go. And that's the Taiwan model of freedom. And you see not just democracy there and a free press and an open political debate. Obviously, you also see an amazing economic success story. And that's what happens when you let free people do what they do.
Yeah, Dagen, can the CCP not do anything other than what it's doing in terms of saying no to imports from Taiwan and doing these military drills? Because the bluster yesterday was so aggressive. There will be massive consequences to the United States. The U.S. will pay. I mean, what now?
Well, especially as we get closer to Xi Jinping's coronation this fall. China could go, this is the threat, they could go beyond just the bluster and the propaganda and do something militarily and do something grave. I mean, that was the risk that Nancy Pelosi took when she, again, followed through on her visit to Taiwan. And the question is the U.S. prepared? And it doesn't look like we are, not militarily, and certainly not in our own propaganda and messaging.
Yeah, I mean, the Chinese now have a larger Navy than the United States, as we have not invested in the Navy. And there are questions about the overall military strength there rising in the prior years. Let me just say that Nancy Pelosi's plane has taken off from Taiwan at this point.